Hey guys, Pantastic J here, and welcome to a final part of our Zubo challenge series. For those of you who have just stumbled across this video without seeing the previous two, please feel free to go watch those and come back to this one so you have an understanding of what is going on. To those who have returned from previous videos, welcome back! It's great to see you again. Credit to iwose for the PNGs I'm using in this video. Once again, thank you all for all the support. I really appreciate it. And let's finish this run. Last episode, we left off by defeating Icy Head, before returning to a Plucky Pearl to make our way towards Picrew, where Big Head is. On our way there though, the sea starts to disappear, and we have to go to Super Island, with hopes that Team Super will know what to do. Exiting the Plucky Pearl, before I do anything, I go ahead and stop at the shop, where we buy more scrolls for Pinky. I promise you guys you won't be hearing this 1,000 times this video. We then enter into Easter Island, where we meet Tiger, who tells us about how the island was attacked by Zubos, and he came down to try and find help. So we agree to help him returning to Team Super's base. First, we need to get past the gate on the beach, which we do by finding gems and statues. During this time, we do have fights with Zubos, and because of our Zubos getting damaged and the Plucky Pearl still being available, I go to the vet and heal up. Is what I would say if for some reason we're allowed to go there. It stops us because we've already explored there, but it does not really make too much sense. Sadly, from what I know, this is the last bed in the game, so healing is at the hands of food now. Fun fact, heading back I buy another scroll for Pinky. We also find a yellow present that I give to Pinky, giving her iron gloves, which increases her strength. We then place the gems into the statues by the gate, opening them before rejecting Tiger from joining our team. Past the gate in the steamy jungle, we meet the head who has attacked Team Super's base with Zubos, Tech Head, who gives us the first boss battle of the episode. This battle, we go up against Invader, Ray, and Bubble. We start the first turn by having Rising use Piledriver, which gives us a lucky streak which we use to move again. With another lucky streak, we stick with what is working for streaks and use it again. Honestly, watching this back, I have no clue what I was thinking, as I was expecting to overload myself. But the streak stays strong as we knock out Ray, ending it. At our next turn, we finally have Pinky go for overload, with a salsa slap following to keep her healed when food's low. This slap does end up knocking out Invader, and another one knocks out Bubble, giving us the win, as well as giving Rising his second move skill upgrade, the last move skill upgrade for the playthrough. Not too long after, we meet up with Mac, who tells us it'll be almost impossible for us to open the gate, due to it only being able to open from the inside, which was closed off with the Zubos attack, leaving Mac to be left outside. We find a catapult that we can use to get past the gate, but we need to find the handle for it. Before we find the handle though, we have 5 more scrolls to give to Pinky. The handle is just unguarded in a chest, so it wasn't that too big of a challenge to find it, but immediately after Zubos spawn we have to fight. For some reason, it spawns 2 of the same fight. I'm unsure if that was intentional or not, but it's free XP, so I'm not complaining too much. There are also more scrolls bought for Pinky, but this is the last time I ever have to bring up leveling up Pinky using scrolls and books or whatever, as Pinky has reached the maximum level of level 20. I told you guys to not be hearing about the entirety of the video, and not as good news, we still have Rising and Robo to get to level 20, so I will be saying something similar. Back at the catapult, we use the handle to pull it back, and then with Tiger in, we use the level to send him flying to get over the gate. Past the gate, there's immediately another gate on the way to Team Super Space that we need to find a key in the obstacle course to open. So off we go to complete the course, where we meet Steel, who wants us to beat them around said course. Off topic, but it is around this time where I fix a small problem that has been causing me a bit of pain. I don't know if it was ever noticeable in my overworld clips, but sometimes my characters would just seem to move while standing in place. For some reason I thought the game was thinking that there was something on the touchscreen, as it was also removed access to my bag, but it turns out my mic was being picked up. And with the game being on DS, there are a few moments where using the mic is needed. For example, back in the Horror Mansion, we used it to clear the cobwebs. So I just had to mute the mic and problem solved. Hopefully we won't have to deal with any other major problems. I do get the book from a chest that I give to Robo, but outside of finding this key, the Sprites, and randomly appearing Zubos, there's nothing too exciting about the obstacle course. Oh yeah, we also have another battle with Techhead. This battle, we are against Invader, Ray, and Bubble. Again. We start with a Piledrive with Rising, which we do again on our next turn. Rising is then weakened and at a perfect time as we move to Pinky as she uses Overload, which knocks out all the Zubos and gives us the win. We open the gate after we exit the course, and head up the volcano that is the location of the base. The main thing that is blocking our path is boulders that we use the catapults as well as the cannon to break. Heading up the volcano, we meet up with Techhead once again, and are up Illumi, U-Bot, and Bolt. We start by having Rising use Piledriver twice due to a lucky streak. On our next turn, we have Pinky use Overload, which knocks out U-Bot. The Overload on our next turn gives us a win by knocking out the other two Zubos. Techhead gives us a medium gift that when given to Robo gives him iron gloves, the same gift that Pinky got. After a battle, we meet Jet, who we deny from joining us, as well as meeting back with Tiger, who tells us that to get into the base, we have to go through the waterfall. Before going in, we find a chest of scrolls that are given to Robo. Inside the base, we meet Agent Tux, who thinks that for some reason we've taken forever to get there, and to truly activate the base, we need to find 5 batteries, one for each member of Team Super. These batteries can be found at the summit of the volcano, along with Whoosh. More XP is bought for Robo before we head out. At Lava Peak, we meet up with Whoosh, who tells us that when the Zubos attack, she hid the batteries and boulders around the peak, and we have to go find and break them. With all of the batteries, we go back into the base and place them into the slots, which make the base more super, before we go into the ship to head after Techhead, who is in his tower, which is not on Super Island, but instead is on the moon. After buying more scrolls for Robo, we put the batteries into their places. Whoosh captains the ship, but on our way to the tower, Techhead shoots us, damaging the ship and causing us to land. So, my recording for this last part of the video was separated into 2 dates. The first was what was all previously talked about in this video, while the second was the rest of the game. Now, I was already experiencing some lag problems while recording Super Island, with sometimes my game just pausing and causing me to miss hits on moves. What was in store for me when I came back the second day was far worse. I went into the first Zubo battle on Tube Moon, and the game just got so slow and laggy, which made it impossible to play, to where I had to go into the settings just to try and figure out how to get the game to be playable, and still with a decent quality. I also decided to do a decent cleanup of my computer, which caused me to make some small mistakes, as not only did I delete all the photos minus the background that I used for my Nuzlocke series, check it out after this video if you like Pokemon, but it also caused me to accidentally delete the background that I used for both the recording layout and the background for editing the video. So things will likely be looking a bit different, but I'd rather it be functional than looking the same with being unplayable. There's still some times where it'll get a bit slow, but it's very small compared to how it was when I was playing before. Once we are properly at Tube Move, we fight the Zubos that helped to show us that the game was getting unplayable before this recording. After defeating them the third try of getting things to work, they drop a battery. We find another one right at a place we need to place the 2 of them to open the gate, where we meet Bolt. He sees us as an enemy at first, before being talked down by our Zubos. Bolt then asks for our assistance by getting the parts for Tim Tom, which were taken away by the Zubos. We also have to find more batteries to open the gates that are blocking our way. This part of the story, although taking a decent amount of time to complete, there's nothing much exciting about it. I do find a shop, but I'm honestly tired of having to type and say the same thing over and over again. So until I say otherwise, any scrolls I get or buy will be given to Robo. We get all the parts for Tim Tom, and head forward as we meet Lumi. He wants us to complete her golf course. This honestly is a very silly part of the game due to how the golf balls work, being able to go out of bounds. But you're given enough golf balls to where it's not a problem. I also ended up skipping one, so when I saw Lumi again, she was not asking to join me. I had to go back in and find the goal I missed. In the golf course, though, we do meet back up with Techhead, who has this fight against Steel, Rising Dragon, and Panama. We begin the battle with a slam dunk from Robo, which we do again the following turn, giving us a lucky streak that we used to have Pinky do Overload, which knocks out Rising and Invader. Lastly, we have Pinky use Rock Out, which knocks out Panama and gives us the win. After leaving the golf course, we meet Green, who, like our spaceship, her and Team Alien's UFO was hit and crashed onto the moon. She asks us to help her by putting warning lights around the UFO crash site, which we do. During this, we find a giant plant that will block our way forward. Green tells us that on the ship there is a lizard that can help get rid of the plant. To get inside, we play another Simon game. Inside the ship, we fix the teleporter, which brings us batteries for the ship's laser, as well as teleporting in Ray. After getting everything set up, we fire the laser that gets rid of the plant. Past the plant, we meet up with Bubble, who is behind lasers set up by Techhead. Speaking of which, Techhead is on the other side of the area, where we fight against Kitty Bling, Shimmer, and Rapella. We start by having Rising use Piledriver, with Pinky using Patty Cake after the Zombos get a lucky streak. On the following turn, Pinky uses Overload, which knocks out Rapella. Pinky is then put to sleep, so Robo uses Slam Dunk, followed by an Overload by Pinky once she wakes up the next turn, which knocks out the other two Zombos and gives us the win, and the lasers are turned off. This is where I make the biggest mistake of the run. Like we would normally do after a battle, I go ahead and heal up my Zubos before I go talk to Bubble. And because of getting a gift from a battle, I go and check to see who needs the gift, and then once again go to check once I give it. For some reason, this caused Bubble to move from his current location check to where we can get them back to the first location, to where although the lasers are off, they're acting like the lasers are there, and we go back to a point where the cutscene plays, they end up going down to the pit and running back and forth. As far as I know, there is no way to get them back to check where they are out of the area of the lasers. And believe me, during this part of the playthrough, and even after I finished the playthrough, I tried multiple times. It was at this point I truly realized while although there are runs in other categories of Zubo speedrunning, there are no 100% runs done as of writing the script. Because if this was a run, I would have to reset. This because as far as I can tell, I am locked out of 100%. I was confused before, because the speedrun website says that the poster quest cannot be completed. And I'm assuming that quest is the one back in the Wild West where I was able to get all 5, although one was farther out than the other 4. If anyone has any more information on this, or how to possibly unlock Bubble, please let me know. But for now, I'm locked out of 100% completion. Going into the next area, we make it to Techhead's tower. Like usual, the fodder Zombos are unimportant. Up at the top of the tower, we start final battles against Techhead. In the first battle, we are against Lumi, U-Bot, and Robo. We start with Rising using Piledrive, followed by a Patty Cake by Pinky the next turn. Now with 4 power pills, we have Pinky use Overload, which knocks out Robo. After a heal from the Zombos and another Overload from Pinky, Lumi disables our special moves, so we have Rising use Karate Kick, as either way we are low on power pills, which knocks out Lumi. Robo uses Spin Stun the following turn, with Pinky using Solves the Slap while U-Bot is stunned, knocking them out and giving us the win. In the second battle, we are against Volts, Bolts, and Tim Tom. We start with Pinky using Patty Cake, and the following turn Robo uses Slam Dunk. Pinky then starts going for overloads, with the first one knocking out Bolts, with the second one the following turn knocking out the other 2 Zombos, giving us the win. The third battle is against Jet, 4, and Whoosh, where we start with having Robo use Slam Dunk, followed by a Piledriver from Rising the next turn. After getting our Power Pill stolen, we have Rising use Piledriver again, before Pinky uses Overload. We then have Rising use Fireball on Whoosh to avoid her healing the team, before 4 attacks the whole team for a second time, which knocks out Robo. We then have Pinky use Salsa Slap before Jet knocks out Rising. With only Pinky left, we have her use Overload, which knocks out both Jet and 4, giving us the win. After being dropped to both, we get Robo up to max level, which means all XP found or bought will be given to Rising. Our last battle against Tech Head has us up against Bubbles, Green, and Invader, which has to start with Rising using Piledriver. After the Zubos get a lucky streak, Pinky uses Patty Cake, followed by Overload. On the next turn, another Overload knocks out all of the Zubos, giving us the win. Taghead realizes that they need more power, as his battery is empty, and turns into a chip. Back at the core, the power goes out due to us defeating Techhead, making Big Head mad at us. With Techhead gone, we meet Invader, who is now free, and gives us the key to the UFO, so we can fly to the core. Back at the UFO after another bubble attempt, we use the key to make our way to the core. As soon as we enter, Big Head meets us for a battle, where we are against Cinders, Red, and Snooze. We start with a Slam Dunk from Robo, followed by a Patty Cake from Pinky the following turn. After the Zubos get a lucky streak and are able to stun Pinky, we have Rising use Piledriver, which gives us a lucky streak so we can do the same thing again. Unstunned, we have Pinky use Overload, which knocks out Snooze and Cinder. After Red damages the team, we have Pinky use Salsa Slap to give us the win. Like usual for these boss areas, the fodder is not important, so like always, we're just going to skip over it. Halfway up the tower, we do meet up with Big Head again, and we have another battle, this time against Morning Sky, Goldie, and Sheriff Star. We start by having Robo use Slam Dunk, followed by a Piledriver from Rising Dragon the following turn. Pinky then goes for Overload, which knocks out Morning Sky, before a second one finishes up the other 2 Zubos for the win. We get a huge gift that is given to Pinky to give her a bulletproof vest that boosts her health. On the 4th level of the tower, I found a second one that gave Robo, a character who I may remind you is at max level, a gold medal that gives him an experience boost. So I go ahead and give him the medium gift I have, which gives him boxing gloves for strength bonus. After this, we make it to the war room, which holds Big Head, and we start the final wave of battles. Our first battle is against Scully, Columbus, and Littlebeard. We start by having Rising use Piledrive, with a Patty Cake from Pinky the following turn. Pinky then goes for Overload twice, which knocks out Scully and Columbus, before our whole team gets knocked out by Littlebeard after getting a lucky streak, giving us our 3rd loss. After healing up our team with respawning cupcakes in the room, we go back in for round 2. Starting with a Piledrive and Patty Cake again, Pinky is able to go for 2 Overloads that knock out Scully and Columbus again. Not having enough power pills, we then have Pinky go for Salsa Slap, which knocks out Columbus for the win. Second battle is against Medusa, 4, and Clops, where we start with a Slam Dunk from Robo, followed by a Piledrive from Rising. After having our power pills stolen, we have Robo go for another Slam Dunk, before Pinky is able to use Overload, which knocks out 4. A second knocks out Medusa, and a Salsa Slap from Pinky knocks out Clops for the win. Battle 3 is against the Zubo version of our own team. We once again start with a Slam Dunk from Robo, followed by a Piledrive from Rising that gives us a lucky streak, which means that Pinky can go for a first Overload, which will never won the following turn knocks out all but Robo. A Salsa Slap is done by Pinky before she gets stunned, and then we return with a Rough Justice from our Robo, giving us the win. 4th is against Bolts, Lumi, and U-Bot, where we start with a Piledriver from Rising, followed up by a Patty Cake from Pinky. 2 Overloads knocks out Bolts and Lumi, with a Salsa Slap knocking out U-Bot. The 5th and last battle is against Whoosh, Chill, and Invader. We start with a patty cake from Pinky, which, because of a lucky streak, allows us to do so twice in a row, before another lucky streak allows us to go straight into Overload, that knocks out Chill. After the Zombos get their own lucky streak, another Overload and Salsa Slap knocks out Invader, before a Rough Justice finishes off Whoosh, winning us the game. Big Head starts to make a speech about all he wanted was to be loved, before showing his true intentions by talking about how he wanted to find somewhere that he could conquer. He then escapes. Biggie then unplugs the cord and Zubalon is saved. Zubo 1 then upgrades us to be able to teleport throughout all of Zubalon, and with that, it is possible to beat Zubo with only the starting Zubos, and with only 3 losses, which was surprising to me. My next question would be if you can 100% the game, because believe it or not, we have not gotten all the Zubos in the game. This may seem obvious, because of a glitch that has locked out as getting a character, but there are actually 5 Zubos that are unlocked not from the main story itself, but through a practice mode, which you need to win 200 battles in order to lock everything. I honestly was going to start live streaming this, as it would be my first time doing so if not taking advantage of a level maxing to blaze through. But honestly, since the glitch, it just would feel incomplete to do so, and honestly my whole motivation for this project has gone down the drain with it. If there was a way to fix this glitch, do expect the possibility of me live streaming the process. The last section of this game, especially on the moon, is probably one of the most glitch-filled and confusing parts of the game, as there are a lot of areas where you think lead somewhere, but are just walls. And similar to the last part, the linearity of a section is there, and worse than it was previously. Because of the moving, it does feel like 2 sections put into one, and honestly a bit rushed. But still, it does not ruin how I view this game, and honestly, it kind of shows in how little I have to say about this section of the game. So, for now, this is it in Zubalon. I likely will do other challenge playthroughs in the future, possibly in Nuzlocke, but I do want there to be some more time in between them, and likely will be only one video compared to this trilogy. What's also changing is me, from this lovely Picrew made by iwose to a new persona. When I first started this series, I was just starting out on YouTube, and although I still have a long ways to go, figuring out how I want you guys to see me is something I see as very important, so I hope you all enjoy the new me. But that's all for now. I hope you all enjoyed. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Bye!